Hello, everybody. Welcome to the GM Sports Report, your weekly podcast on all things sports where every play counts. I'm Grant, and I'm here with my co-host Mason as we get ready to cover the latest news, headlines, and upcoming events going on in the sports world. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see all things GM Sports Report. Mason, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, Grant. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. We got a lot to dive into today because big trades on the horizon. Some big trades have happened. Just a lot of stuff to dive into. NBA Finals, all that stuff. So looking forward to dive into it. But we're gonna start out every episode, or we're gonna start out like how we do every episode, and that is with our hot take of the week. So Mason, what is your hot take this week?
All right, so my hot take this week is a little spicy. My hot take is if Tom Brady played in the NFC, he would be nowhere near as successful of a quarterback as he was. Um, yeah, he was. He's the GOAT. Don't get me wrong, but he was handed 5 to 6 free wins each year with that cakewalk of the AFC East division. Jets, Finns, and Bills were bad for almost 20 years, and Brady just took advantage of it. The only trouble he really had to face in the playoffs on the AFC side was Peyton Manning and Ben Roethlisberger, and even they had to have pretty good teams to back them up to win. Um, if he was in the NFC, he'd have to face like pretty good teams like the Legion of Boom, the prime 49er teams with Kaepernick and all them, and then Drew Brees, who was on a successful run, Cam's MVP Panthers, and the NFC East also, who he lost 3 Super Bowls against alone. So, Brees was built on dominance, but I also think he got a few lucky breaks in there too. So, yeah, that's my hot take.
Wow, that's definitely a hot take. I like it. Yeah, I mean, I think you made some good points with like the teams that he was facing his whole career and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I still think like he would have done good wherever he was because he's the GOAT at the end of the day. But like you could also say without the team he had, like if he didn't have Gronk or he didn't have Edelman or he didn't have like these guys, like he might have been nothing too. It's all like a what if scenario, so it's kind of hard to
Mm-hmm.
like say if it's right or wrong.
Right,
But yeah, I
right.
like it. It's definitely a hot take and something interesting to think about. That's for sure. So I like it.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong,
Um,
I do think he obviously is the greatest of all time. It's just I thought it was something cool to kind of bring up.
yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting topic for sure. Um, I had such a hard time coming up with a hot take this week. I guess my hot take right now is that Shohei Ohtani is not ready to pitch. They had him
Yeah.
open last night and he looked pretty bad. Gave up 2 hits and 1 earned run and 1 inning, no strikeouts or anything like that. So I think the only reason they're trying to rush him back into pitching is because of how many injuries the Dodgers have in their starting rotation. And I think that's a dangerous game. Look, you don't want to lose Ohtani because you're trying to rush him back pitching. Like he had a major surgery on his arm. You don't want to rush him back. And I
Mm-hmm.
just don't think he's ready. He didn't look ready last night. And it feels like they're just rushing into it, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was just knocking the rust off in that 1 inning, but we'll see. He did touch 100 a couple times, which was promising to
Yeah, I
see.
saw that. Yep. Yep.
All right. So now we're going to go ahead and slide into our underdogs of the week. So I'll let you go ahead and give your underdog of the week.
Yeah, so my underdog is a team, and that is the Tampa Bay Rays. As a Yankees fan, you kind of hate to see a team get as close in the division like this when we had such a hot start. But they dealt with the Mets with what felt like ease. I think they swept them, and they're only 2 games behind the Yankees now. And they got stars such as Junior Caminero and Jonathan Aranda, who have been playing great. So I think they have, if they can get hot, I think they can really make a push for, some playoff seeding. So, yeah.
You know what would really help that team out
Yep.
is if they could get
Yeah.
a guy on their team that's like, I don't know, probably one of the fastest players in baseball
Mhm.
history that only takes 10 seconds to run first or from home to third. Like kind
Oh,
of
I
like a
think they
guy
have a
like
guy like
Chandler
that,
Sim.
Yeah,
Do
yeah,
they?
yeah. I think I heard of someone like that. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, but they sent them down. Yeah, they sent them
Oh, that's
down.
right. That's right. For no
Yeah.
reason. Okay, yeah,
Oh,
that's right.
silly me. How do we forget
No,
that?
okay. For those who aren't picking up the sarcasm there, the Tampa Bay Rays have a prospect. His name's Chandler Simpson, And he's a really talented player, very fast, gets on base, and if he walks, he turns that into a double because he steals second
Yeah.
instantly, and he can even turn it into a triple because he can steal third easily half the time. But for whatever reason, the Rays didn't see him being needed at the major league level right now, so he got sent down the minors, and he's been killing it in the minor leagues. But yeah, with the Rays heating up, I would expect that he'd be called back up at some point here soon. They could really use him. He just brings a different dynamic to any offense. So yeah, that's why I was getting a little sarcastic there because I have no idea why he's in AAA right now.
He was batting like 300 just straight off like beating out grounders and
I
stuff.
know.
Like it's ridiculous.
I know he doesn't need to hit home runs or anything to be
No.
an impact player for that team, but I digress. Um, my underdog of the week, I'm gonna go with Josh Smith from the Texas Rangers. Very good utility player, plays kind of a lot around the field. But his batting last week was really good. He went 11 for 26, which is a 423 average. He had 5 extra base hits and 9 runs scored. And he did win AL Player of the Week this last week. So decided to go with him because he's not talked about as much, but he is a really good impact player for the Rangers this season. So yeah, I'm going with Josh Smith. Gosh, that's a mouthful for me for some reason.
Mhm. Nice.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and slide over to the NBA. Got a few things to talk about. We're gonna obviously start with the NBA Finals. The series is now 3-2 OKC. Mason, what are your thoughts on this series so far, and where do you see it going in the future?
Yeah, I think it's really been I think we've had a good grasp on kind of what to expect. Very close games. We expected them to split both ways, and now Thunder's up 3-2. And I think a lot of the heat, or maybe not heat, but I think like headlines are going to be talking about like Tyrese Halliburton. But obviously he was kind of going through a little bit of a leg injury as well. But haters are going to be like, oh, 30 minutes, only 4 points off free throws. So I think that there's just definitely a lot to take from it. What's the name? Jalen Williams. He had 40 points. He just absolutely exploded. Gave that Thunder the push that they needed to get, that game 5 win. So, yeah, I think the Thunder can hopefully close it out, but I wouldn't be surprised if Pacers tie it up tomorrow night or whenever they play
Um,
again.
so they're going back to Indiana for Game 6.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's a big
Yeah.
factor in my mind of why I think it's going to go 7 because I do think the Pacers can win at home one
Mm-hmm.
last time. But my thing is, if Halliburton's leg injury is as serious as like some people are saying, I think that the Pacers are just kind of cooked and they're not going to be able to do much more this series. I will give them the benefit of the doubt of winning this Game 6. Home crowd advantage, and they're going to be fighting for their lives out there. So I expect them to win that game. But if it's Game 7 and Halliburton's legs cooked, I do not see a world where they can win it. The Thunder are
Mm-hmm.
looking really good right now. Jalen Williams finally had that performance that I feel like us fans have been waiting for because we knew he was capable of it, and had a 40 ball last night and looked really sharp. So I think that was huge for Shea to get that help because I mean I'm not saying he hasn't gotten help throughout this series, but we knew Jalen Williams was capable of getting 40 points because of how
Right.
talented he is. So it's encouraging for them to see that he's finally doing that. And if he does it again, I don't think that the Pacers will be able to keep up. Pascal Siakam has been great in this series, but like I said, it all comes back to if Tyrese Halliburton's injured or not. That's the glue of the team. That's the star of the team. That's the one that's brought them to where they are right now. And yeah, if he's hurt, then it's unfortunate. I don't think they'll get the job done, but I hope that they can win this Game 6 because I would love to see a Game 7 between these two teams. But I do ultimately see the Thunder winning this series, and I can see it happening in 7 games.
Yep. Agreed.
Um, all right, next thing I want to talk about is kind of a trade that came out of nowhere. Desmond Bain was traded to the Orlando Magic for Cole Anthony and 4 first-round picks. Very interesting trade. I wanted to get your thoughts on it, Mason. What do you think about it?
I thought it was sporadic, like it just kind of out of nowhere. Because Desmond Bane's a great player, don't get me wrong, but for 4 first-round picks and a guy like Cole Anthony who absolutely loves being in Orlando, it just it didn't really make sense to me, and I don't think it still does. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of left me speechless, and I think that Orlando will be great with him. But when you're spending 4 first-round picks, you expect to get a guy like KD or someone crazy like go for Giannis or something. But yeah, they got Desmond Bain, so hopefully it pays off for him. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Also, I forgot to mention Contavious Caldwell-Pope also involved
Oh,
in that
that's
trade
right.
as well. The name slipped my mind for a couple of seconds, but I
Yeah.
remembered it. Um, Yeah, so this trade is very interesting. I think this definitely helps the Magic right now. Desmond Bane's a very talented player. He can get you 20 points a game. He can shoot, which that was the whole reason why they made this trade. The Orlando Magic were last in 3-point percentage this last season. Last in pretty much in every shooting aspect, they were towards the bottom end. So really struggled from three. And Desmond Bane's going to help you out a lot in that regards. He's a great 3-point shooter. He shoots about 40% from the field from three. So I like that fit, and he's going to fit in perfectly next to Jalen Suggs. So that's going to be a very scary backcourt. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Now, you did kind of give away your future for Desmond Bain, it seems. 4 first-round
Yeah.
picks is a pretty hefty price to pay. You lost a fan favorite in Cole Anthony. The fans loved him. But, if you want to win, you got to make the moves, and this to them seemed like a move they needed to make. And the East is not as strong as people think, because I mean, I hate to say it, but if the Pacers can make it out the East, I'm sure half the teams in the East, if they get one or two acquisitions, they can make it out the East. So I think this is them kind of taking a swing and trying to get a perfect fit, which Desmond Bain is. And yeah, we'll see how it plays out. But 4 first-round picks is a very, very hefty price, because Kevin Durant's not even going to get 4 first-round picks when this trade
No,
happens.
he's not.
And speaking of Kevin Durant, that's the next thing I want to get into. There's been so much chatter on this Kevin Durant trade saga. Mason, I just want to get your thoughts on it right now. Do you see a landing spot for him, or do you not see a landing spot for him? What are your thoughts right now?
So I think ultimately he's probably gonna end up with either with Minnesota. It kind of just that's where my mind sways to whenever I think of KD. It just really comes down to if they really want to go for him or not. Because I think him paired up with Ant will be, very entertaining. It will be good. But yeah, just off of being a Knicks fan, you showed me that report yesterday saying that like KD wanted to go to the Knicks, but the Knicks didn't want to go get him. So seeing something like that with the roster that we have, and we could have gave up probably McCall and maybe some kind of picks or something or some bench guys, but I don't know. I think we could have made something work, especially if you want to come to New York. But we ultimately didn't want to get him, and we'll see if that affects us or not. I think it will, but yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on it.
Yeah, the whole thing with the Timberwolves that's like throwing me off is like they know, like there's been multiple reports that Kevin Durant has no interest in playing for the Timberwolves long term.
Mm,
So you're just getting a 1-year rental. But a lot of people are
yeah.
starting to think maybe this is going to be a Kawhi Leonard 2018 sort of thing, when Kawhi was on the last
Mm,
year of his deal. He got sent to Toronto. They won a championship, but then Kawhi ultimately ended up leaving afterwards. Um, it might be a situation like that, or he might end up with one of his 3 preferred teams. We know reported that the 3 teams he wants to be with long term are the Spurs, the Rockets, and the Miami Heat. Um, I just have a feeling that he's going to end up on the San Antonio Spurs. I know that lately it's kind of died down in talks about the Spurs getting him, but in the beginning, they were basically making it sound like it was a guarantee he was going to end up on the San Antonio Spurs, and that seems to be the team he wants to go to the most. I think all these latest reports that have come out have kind of been like a negotiation tactic for the Suns to really force the Spurs' best offer out of them. Um, but I could be wrong. I don't know if he's going to end up on one of his 3 preferred teams. I would love to see him on the Miami Heat, obviously, but I just don't know if that's going to happen or not. Um, they said this trade was supposed to be done pretty soon here, and it hasn't
Yeah, I
happened.
saw that.
And with the track record of this podcast, it'll probably happen about an hour after we're done
Oh,
recording.
absolutely.
So I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to the rest of today because today's probably going to be the day it happens if it's anything like the track record of our podcast shows. But yeah, I'm really thinking San Antonio. He's from Texas. I think that's the team he wants to go to the most. Gives you a person to pair with Wemby and De'Aaron Fox. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I would love to see him on the Miami Heat, obviously, but after the whole Dame saga, I'm never getting my hopes up that high about someone again. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Mhm.
All right, so now we're going to go over to the MLB, and we're going to also start with a huge trade that happened in MLB, and that was Rafael Devers being sent to the San Francisco Giants a month before the trade deadline for Jordan Hicks
Yep.
and Kyle Harrison and other prospects. Mason, what are your thoughts on this trade? Pretty huge trade to have happen.
Yeah. I think it caught everyone by surprise. Um, you know, with Devers this whole season, it was like a whole big thing with Bregman coming in, from Houston, him playing third, and then Devers like, oh well, I'm the third baseman. I don't want to play first. I think that a lot of people are saying that just the way that the Red Sox handled kind of that whole mess, it just wasn't the right way to go about it. And letting a guy like Devers walk. Granted, they are a selling team this year, clearly getting rid of Devers, and we'll see what else they sell. But he had a great game against the Yankees literally that day. Red Sox swept the Yankees, and I was like, man, I wish this guy wasn't here anymore. And then sure enough, he left. So that was pretty cool to see. But I think it definitely left the sports world, especially MLB world and Boston fans, in shock. So we'll see what he can do in San Francisco. I don't think that's the greatest place for him either. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, San Francisco's an interesting landing spot for him because they have Matt Chapman, who's a Gold Glove winner over at third
Hmm.
base, and he's there till like 2032 or something like that. And he could DH there too, but it would be hilarious if he goes and plays first base, and
I
especially since
saw
they're playing
some.
the Red
Yeah,
Sox on Friday. It would just be so funny to see him playing first base against the Red Sox on Friday. Maybe being on a new team, a new change of scenery, he'll be
yeah,
open to it. It's just a very interesting trade. It's kind of like the MLB's version of the Luca trade, if you ask me. Just a trade that kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
came out of nowhere. Granted, there was some talks when all that stuff was happening during spring training to not be surprised if Devers asked for a trade, but for it to happen a month away from the trade deadline and the Red Sox came into this year expected to be a good team. I know I wasn't as
To
high on
win the
them as
East,
everyone
that's
else
what people
was.
are saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but people had high expectations for them, and for them to, you know, plummet down so bad, they're probably going to have to give him up. They might even look into trading Bregman because he has a player option after this season. Obviously, Garrett Crochet could be on the chopping block. Aroldis Chapman's most likely gone. They're going to be a selling team, which not a lot of people are expecting. And yeah, this trade caught me by big surprise. That Devers is one of the best hitters in baseball, and just giving him up for Jordan Hicks and Kyle Harrison. And they didn't even shop him around from other teams, is what I'm hearing,
They could
which
have gotten so much more.
they could have gotten so much more. I mean, you could have gotten some top end prospects for a guy like Rafael Devers. I know their biggest concern for the Red Sox was to make sure that the team taking him on paid the full contract that he has, which I believe is a $330 million contract.
They
But
could have
so
gotten.
many teams would be willing to pay that price and give top end prospects for him. So that really baffled me as far as that goes. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see his fit on the Giants. The Giants are a very serious team now in my eyes. They were already only one
Hmm.
game back from the Los Angeles Dodgers, and now acquiring him on top of the great pitching they've had this season, the great defense they've played. Who knows what can happen with the Giants here? I think it could really spark something special for them. But yeah, just a crazy trade, was not expected at all. And I'm excited to see this game between the Red Sox and Giants on
Yeah.
Friday. And one more question I have is like, are the Red Sox to you like one of the biggest jokes of a franchise now? Because in a 5-year span, they've traded Mookie Betts, Chris Sale, and now Rafael Devers, who have been like by no doubt three of the best players in their franchise over the past decade. So do you think
Hmm.
they're a laughing stock of a franchise right now?
Yeah, I do think that they are a laughing stock. When especially coming into this season with so much like praise and everything that they were getting, just to get rid of like the best player in their team, it's so funny to me. And just yeah, the track record that they've had in the past 5 years of getting rid of some of the big name players like that, I think it really could just be the beginning of a big downfall. So yeah, we'll see where it goes, but I wouldn't be surprised if they stay at the bottom for a while.
Yeah, just to emphasize kind of what you're saying. Like I said, Rafael Devers, Mookie Betts, and Chris Sale. Those are three names that they've traded. And that's just like crazy to me, especially the Mookie Betts one. That's one that'll never sit right with me because that
Hmm.
dude was a stud when he was on the Red Sox. He's still a stud to this day. So
Yep.
that's shocking. But this is crazy. This is what the Red Sox have gotten from the Rafael Devers, the Mookie Betts, and the Chris Sale trades. Jordan Hicks, Kyle Harrison, James Tibbs, Jose Bello, Jeter Downs, Alex Verdugo, Connor Juan, and Vaughn Grisham. Have we heard of any of those
Wow.
players other than Jeter Downs, who was a top prospect for them for a couple seasons, but haven't heard much of him
Alex
since either?
Verdugo on the Yankees.
Yeah, like
Verdugo had
Verdugo
more of
didn't
a
even
splash
end up
on the
staying.
Yankees.
Like, this is a whole bunch of nobodies. Like, you didn't even get like top end prospects for any of these guys. Like, that's just crazy to me. It's like you're almost just trading them to trade them at that point. Do they not like do
Yeah.
their research, like trying to find like top end prospects? Or I don't know. Jordan Hicks still has some potential, I guess, but he has like a 6 ERA this season. And he was a prospect like 5 years ago. It's not like he's a prospect right now. Just it seems like terrible trade management with the talent you had here. And yeah, I just don't get it at all.
It seems like it's all out of spite, like it's personal decisions, not like what's
Hmm.
best for the team. It's like, oh, okay,
Exactly.
you don't want to be anymore. I'll just trade you to a much better team, and then we'll get left with nothing. So, because all the guys, Sale, Betts, and Devers are now on, pretty good teams. Well, Sale, I think kind of a rough here, but
Yeah, but still, last year's coming off a Cy Young
yeah,
candidate.
that's true.
So
Yeah,
I think he won the Cy Young last season in the NL, if I'm not mistaken. So
I
yeah, I
don't
mean, I
remember.
just don't get it.
Yep. Mm.
All right. So now the next thing we're gonna do for the MLB. Last week I went over my NL All Star lineup, and Mason went over his AL All Star lineup. So we're gonna flip that, and I'm gonna give my AL lineup, and Mason's gonna give his NL lineup for the All Star game. So Mason, I'll let you go ahead. What is your NL lineup for this upcoming All Star game?
Okay, so catcher Will Smith, first baseman. I remember you kind of just went over everybody last time and all their accomplishments and stuff. So I'm just gonna go over the names. So first base Freddie Freeman, second Ketel Marte, third Manny Machado, shortstop Francisco Lindor, DH Shohei Ohtani, center field PCA, right field Kyle Tucker, left field Corbin Carroll. I think that's very similar to kind of what you put.
Yeah.
I don't remember yours exactly, but those are kind of the leaders I think in votes too.
Yeah, I think the only difference we had was in left field. I had James Wood instead of Carroll.
Oh, right, right, right.
But yeah, I agree for the most part. I'm very interested as to why Teoscar Hernandez is leading the votes out in left field right now. I find that very interesting, but I digress. Yeah, I like that lineup a lot. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Hmm.
All right. For the AL, at first base, I have Jonathan Aranda. I think Paul Goldschmidt's going to ultimately get the votes to be the starting first baseman, but I think who should be the starting first baseman is Jonathan Aranda, and he is the starting first baseman on my ballot. Second base, Gleyber Torres. Not a whole lot of options over there. Gleyber Torres has had a fine season. I don't think it's been anything spectacular, but yeah, he'll be my second baseman. Third base, Jose Ramirez is pretty self-explanatory. Shortstop, Jacob Wilson, who I was so happy to see lead in the fan votes. I don't know if it'll last. Maybe Bobby Witt will catch him. I know it's very close right now. But if we're going off of who deserves it, it is Jacob Wilson. The dude's batting over 345 right now as a rookie, and he's on pace for some crazy amount of hits this season. So I think he
On the A.
deserves it. Yeah. Outfield, I'm going with Riley Green as my first outfielder. I think he's been fantastic on the best team in baseball. Obviously, going with Aaron Judge as my second outfielder. And third outfielder, I'm going with Stephen Kwan. I was surprised to see that he wasn't leading fan votes out there. I can't remember off the top of my head who's beating him out right now. Oh, Mike Trout. That's
Let
who it
me
was.
check.
It was Mike Trout,
Was it
who's
Trout?
having a good year, but he was hurt for the first half of the season. So that kind of caught me by surprise. But yeah, I'm going with Stephen Kwan there. Catcher, obviously, Cal Riley,
Yeah.
one of the best catchers in the best catcher in the league this season. And DH, this was a little bit of a tricky one because the one who was going to be a guarantee for DH got traded to the NL. So, and obviously I'm talking about Rafael Devers
Oh
there.
yeah.
So for DH, I know Ryan O'Hearn's leading the votes right now, but I'm going with Brent Rooker. I really like Brent Rooker. I think he's a fantastic hitter. So yeah, that's my lineup. Oh, and pitcher Tariq Skubal,
Nice.
of course.
Oh shoot. Yeah. I don't, who's the best pitcher in the NL?
Skeens.
Oh yeah. Yep.
All right.
That's the
Yeah, that was
starting
pretty
pitcher.
good. It'll
Yep.
be interesting to see how these fan votes go moving forward. I know some of them are in a close race right now, especially that shortstop position in the AL. It's like separated by like 40,000 votes right now. Um, I am shocked that Jacob Wilson's actually getting the fan votes. It's good to see because
Yeah,
he
I
deserves
know.
it. Um, It'll be interesting to see how this plays out over the next couple weeks because obviously that All-Star weekend is approaching and I'm very excited for it. And I was very happy
Hmm.
to see Cubs fans showing up for PCA and Kyle Tucker. I was very happy to see that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's pretty much going to wrap up this episode. So thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode of GM Sports Report, where every play counts. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to be able to see our weekly episodes on all things sports. For additional content, check the description to see links to our Instagram and TikTok account. This is Grant and Mason signing off for now. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you guys.